Welcome to Worldy Global. This video is about the Lockheed Martin F22 Raptor. The F22 Raptor is an American single-seat, twin-engine, all-weather stealth tactical fighter aircraft developed for the United States Air Force, USAF, as the result of the USAF's Advanced Tactical Fighter, ATF, program. The aircraft was designed as an air superiority fighter, but also has ground attack, electronic warfare, and signals intelligence capabilities. The prime contractor, Lockheed Martin, built most of the F-22's airframe and weapons systems and conducted final assembly, while Boeing provided the wings, aft fuselage, avionics integration, and training systems. The aircraft first flew in 1997 and was variously designated F-22 and FA-22 before it formally entered service in December 2005 as the F-22A. Although the USAF had originally planned to buy a total of 750 ATFs, the program was cut to 187 operational aircraft in 2009 due to high costs, a lack of air-to-air missions due to the military's focus on counterinsurgency operations at the time of production, a ban on exports, and development of the more affordable and versatile F-35. The last F-22 was delivered in 2012. While it had a protracted development and initial operational difficulties, the F-22 has become a critical component of the USAF's tactical air power. The fighter's combination of stealth, aerodynamic performance, and mission systems enabled a great leap in air combat capabilities and set the benchmark for its generation. The F-22 is expected to serve into the 2030s and eventually be succeeded by the USAF's next-generation air-dominant manned fighter component. In 1981, the US Air Force identified a requirement for an advanced tactical fighter to replace the F-15 Eagle and F-16 Fighting Falcon, codenamed Senior Sky. This air superiority fighter program was influenced by emerging worldwide threats, including new developments in Soviet air defense systems and the proliferation of the Sukhoi Su-27 flanker and Mikoyan MiG-29 Fulcrum class of fighter aircraft. It would take advantage of the new technologies in fighter design on the horizon, including composite materials, lightweight alloys, advanced flight control systems and avionics, more powerful propulsion systems, and most importantly, stealth technology. In 1983, the ATF Concept Development Team became the System Program Office, SPO, and managed the program at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. The demonstration and validation request for proposals was issued in September 1985, with requirements placing a strong emphasis on stealth and supercross. Owing to the immense investments required to develop the technology needed to achieve performance goals, teaming between companies was encouraged. Of the 7 bidding companies, Lockheed and Northrop were selected on the 31st of October 1986. Lockheed, through its Skunk Works division, then teamed with Boeing and General Dynamics while Northrop teamed with McDonnell Douglas, and the two contractor teams undertook a 50-month phase, culminating in the flight test of 2 technology demonstrator prototypes, the YF-22 and the YF-23, respectively. Concurrently, Pratt & Whitney and General Electric were awarded contracts to develop the YF-119 and YF-120 engines respectively for the ATF engine competition. Lockheed was focused on system engineering, technology development plans, and risk reduction over point aircraft designs. In fact, after the down select, the Lockheed team completely changed the airframe configuration in the summer of 1987 due to weight analysis during detailed design, with notable changes including the wing plan form from swept trapezoidal to diamond-like delta and a reduction in forebody planform area. Contractors made extensive use of analytical and empirical methods, including computational fluid dynamics, wind tunnel testing, and radar cross-section, RCS calculations and pole testing. The Lockheed team would conduct nearly 18,000 hours of wind tunnel testing, Avionics development was marked by extensive testing and prototyping and supported by ground and flying laboratories. During the SPO used the results of performance and cost trade studies conducted by contractor teams to adjust ATF requirements and delete ones that were significant weight and cost drivers while having marginal value. The short takeoff and landing requirement was relaxed to delete thrust reversers, saving substantial weight. As avionics was a major cost driver, side-looking radars were deleted, and the dedicated infrared search and track (IST) system was downgraded from multi-color to single color and then deleted as well. Space and cooling provisions were retained to allow for the later addition of these components. The ejection seat requirement was downgraded from a fresh design to the existing McDonnell Douglas Aces II. Despite efforts by the contractor teams to rein in weight, the takeoff gross weight estimate was increased from 22,700 kilograms to 27,200 kilograms, resulting in engine thrust requirement increasing from 30,000 pound-feet of torque to 35,000 pound-feet of torque class. Each team produced 2 prototype air vehicles for L. One for each of the 2 engine options. The YF-22 had its maiden flight on the 29th of September 1990 and in-flight tests achieved up to Mach 1.58 in Supercross. After the L flight test of the prototypes, on the 23rd of April 1991, Secretary of the USAF Donald Rice announced the Lockheed team and Pratt & Whitney as the winners of the ATF and engine competitions. The YF-23 design was considered stealthier and faster, while the YF-22, with its thrust vectoring nozzles, was more maneuverable as well as less expensive and risky. The press speculated that the Lockheed team's design was also more adaptable to the US Navy's Navalized Advanced Tactical Fighter (NATF). But by fiscal year FY 1992, the Navy had abandoned NATF. As the program moved to full-scale development, or engineering and manufacturing development, EMD, the production F-22 design had notable differences from the YF-22. Despite having a similar configuration, the wing's leading edge sweep angle was decreased from 48 degrees to 42 degrees, while the vertical stabilizers were shifted rearward and decreased in area by 20%. The radome shape was changed for better radar performance and the wingtips were clipped for antennas. To improve pilot visibility and aerodynamics, the canopy was moved forward 7 inches and the engine inlets moved rearward 14 inches, 36 centimeters. The shapes of the fuselage, wing, and stabilator trailing edges were refined to improve aerodynamics, strength, and stealth characteristics. The production airframe was designed with a service life of 8,000 hours. Increasing weight during EMD caused slight reductions in projected range and maneuver performance. If you are enjoying these videos, please take a second to like, share and subscribe for more videos. Now continue. The end of the Cold War and the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991 reduced the Department of Defense's urgency for new weapon systems, and the following years would see reductions in DoD spending. This resulted in the F-22's EMD being rescheduled and lengthened multiple times. The roughly equal division of work amongst the team largely carried to EMD. Although prime contractor Lockheed acquired General Dynamics fighter portfolio at Fort Worth, Texas in 1993 and thus had the majority of the airframe manufacturing, while Lockheed Martin Aeronautics primarily performed work at its Skunk Works sites in Burbank and Palmdale, California. It would shift the program office and EMD work from Burbank to Marietta, Georgia, where it performed final assembly. Program partner Boeing provided additional airframe components as well as avionics integration and training systems in Seattle, Washington. The first F-22, an EMD aircraft with tail number 4001, was unveiled at Dobbins Air Reserve Base in Marietta on the 9th of April 1997 and first flew on the 7th of September 1997. In 2006, the F-22 development team won the Collier Trophy, American aviation's most prestigious award. The USAF originally envisioned ordering 758 EFs at a total program cost of $44.3 billion and procurement cost of $26.2 billion in FY 1985 dollars, with production beginning in 1994 and service entry in the late 1990s. The 1990 Major Aircraft Review led by Secretary of Defense Dick Cheney reduced this to 648 aircraft beginning in 1996 and in service in the early to mid-2000s. After the end of the Cold War, this was further curtailed to 442 in the 1993 bottom-up review, while the USAF eventually set its requirements to 381 to adequately support its air expeditionary force structure. However, funding instability had reduced the total to 339 by 1997 and again to 277 by 2003. In 2004, with its focus on asymmetric counterinsurgency warfare in Iraq and Afghanistan, the DoD under Secretary Donald Rumsfeld further cut the planned procurement to 183 operational aircraft. Despite the USAF's requirement for 381, a multi-year procurement plan was implemented in 2006 to save $15 billion, with total program cost projected to be $62 billion for 183 F-22s distributed to 7 combat squadrons. In 2008, Congress passed a defense spending bill that raised the total orders for production aircraft to 187 production, with the first lot awarded in September 2000, supported over 1,000 subcontractors and suppliers from 46 states and up to 95,000 jobs, and spanned 15 years at a peak rate of roughly 2 airplanes per month. The first 2 F-22s built were EMD aircraft in the Block 1.0 configuration for initial flight testing and envelope expansion, while the third was a Block 2.0 aircraft built to represent the internal structure of production airframes and enabled it to test full flight loads. 6 more EMD aircraft were built in the Block 10 configuration for development and upgrade testing, with the last 2 considered essentially production quality jets. Production for operational squadrons consisted of 74 Block 10/20 training aircraft and 112 Block 30/35 combat aircraft. One of the Block 30 aircraft is dedicated to flight sciences at Edwards Air Force Base, California. Block 20 aircraft from Lot 3 onward were upgraded to Block 30 standards, increasing the Block 30/35 fleet to 149 aircraft while 37 remain in the Block 20 configuration. The numerous new technologies in the F-22 resulted in substantial cost overruns and delays. Many capabilities were deferred to post-service upgrades, reducing the initial cost but increasing total program cost. Due to the aircraft's sophisticated capabilities, contractors have been targeted by cyberattacks and technology theft. As production wound down in 2011, the total program cost is estimated to be about $67.3 billion, about $360 million for each operational aircraft delivered, with $32.4 billion spent on research, development, test and evaluation, RDT&E, and $34.9 billion on procurement and military construction, MILCON, in then-year dollars. The incremental cost for an additional F-22 was estimated at $138 million in 2009. The F-22 cannot be exported under US federal law to protect its stealth technology and classified features. Customers for US fighters are acquiring earlier designs such as the F-15 Eagle and F-16 Fighting Falcon or the newer F-35 Lightning II, which contains technology from the F-22 but was designed to be cheaper, more flexible, and available for export. In September 2006, Congress upheld a ban on foreign F-22 sales. Despite the ban, the 2010 Defense Authorization Bill included provisions requiring the DoD to report on the costs and feasibility for an F-22 export variant, and another report on the effect of F-22 export sales on the US aerospace industry. Some Australian politicians and defence commentators proposed that Australia should attempt to purchase F-22s instead of the planned F-35s, citing the F-22's known capabilities and F-35's delays and developmental uncertainties. The Royal Australian Air Force, RAF, soon determined that the F-22 was unable to perform the F-35 strike and close air support roles. The Japanese government also showed interest in the F-22 for its replacement fighter program. The Japan Air Self-Defense Force, JASDF, would reportedly require fewer fighters for its mission if it obtained the F-22, thus reducing engineering and staffing costs. In 2009 it was reported that acquiring the F-22 would require increases to the Japanese government's defense budget beyond the historical 1% of its GDP. With the end of F-22 production, Japan chose the F-35 in December 2011. Israel also expressed interest, but eventually chose the F-35 because of the F-22's price and unavailability. As always, please make sure that you like, share and subscribe for more videos.